All right, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to another episode of Live with Johnny and Lee. Johnny, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. Well, my feelings are a little hurt from that conversation we had before we started. You know, I got knocked down a peg or two, but I'm all right.
What? I thought I
Yeah,
bumped you
people
up a couple.
don't. I guess people don't like me. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
hurt. Yeah.
Well, that's just it's just one
I'm hurt.
guy, one guy,
That's
one
okay.
guy.
One guy has friends. You know, he tells his
Yeah,
friends, and
yeah. And then
it hurts my
he does. I don't
reputation.
think he has enough money to pay his friends.
Oh
So,
well, that's okay.
all right.
That
Well,
happens. You know, if I had a nickel for every time that
right.
that someone said they didn't like me or they wanted to kill me or whatever, you know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be sitting here doing this.
I understand. I understand. All
So,
right. Well, we do have a lot of good things to talk about. We're actually keeping an eye on what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. That is Bovanian prostitution, Hormuz. But anyway, the Strait of Hormuz here has a Chinese vessel making way through the strait right now. Kind of found that interesting there. You can see it here as the Chinese vessels can go back and forth through the strait, but nobody else's can. Also, China and Russia are now both providing material support to Iran. Both are providing weapons while the war is going on. Over 30 truckloads of weapons have came in through Pakistan from China, as well as multiple aircraft, IL-76s, have been landing in Iran. In fact, one of them was hit the other day by an American missile. Blew the main spar of the wing right out and totally destroyed the aircraft with a single hit. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. So, Johnny, where do you want to go from here?
well, actually, that's really interesting that you bring up the Strait of Hormuz there. Now, Trump has said that the vessels need to run through these areas. So don't be afraid. Run them through. The American insurance companies still have not put forth a plan to insure these vessels since Lloyd's of London has backed out. But Trump's now saying, well, we're going to guarantee that they're going to get what is it? How did he put it? There's going to be naval ships and flotillas that escort the vehicle or the vessels, but none of the countries seem to want to jump in. The French have said no. The British have said no. Even the Chinese have said no. Of course, why would the Chinese get in on it? Because the Chinese are being allowed safe passage, as you're showing. So. He says that he said this on Air Force One yesterday. I saw the clip this morning. Said that don't worry about it. If you're one of these ships that are transiting the Strait of Hormuz, don't worry about it because the drones and the boats and the missiles, that's all CGI. It's not true. So there's no danger.
Right.
Right.
Tell that to the boats that have been burning out in the strait there. We've got, I don't know what the total number of boats or ships that have been hit since the war started. I'm sure somebody knows, but
I mean, that's
it's a
if you look
bunch.
at the entrance and the exit right there, just around the Cape. I mean, that tells you that you've got ships that are just halted on both sides. Right?
And
They're
it's
not
also this
transiting.
is all jammed. This is all
Right.
spoofing. When you get in here, there's spoofing out the wazoo going on out here. When you look at some of these ships, actually, it looks like the spoofing may have stopped. I'm not seeing the. Yeah,
The
I'm not
figure eight
seeing.
patterns.
I'm not
Yeah.
seeing. Yeah, the. Yeah, it looks like the spoofing has been halted. Well, also, I'm pulling from satellite also, so
Right.
there might be still spoofing, but the satellite is not showing it. Yeah, that's pretty much all halted here. Let me go back and make sure I got
Hmm.
all vessels here. I believe I do. Yeah, I got everybody. So yeah, the spoofing. So they've stopped the spoofing.
Except for
Well,
maybe
no,
right there.
right? No, yeah. Well, I don't know what's
No,
going
that
on
could be
here.
legit. That could be legit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If they've just got boats alongside. But
Yeah. Well, a key waterway, right? This is the key, and Jeff has put it out, and I've concurred with it. So we've got 2 weeks, right? We've got about 2 weeks, and we're going to have to start pulling out of here. If there's no off ramp, then we're headed for a serious financial disaster on our end, because the price of oil is not going to come down. Trump's claiming that the price of oil is going to drop like a rock very soon, but there's no strategy to leave. I mean, we've moved all that hardware and everything in there. And do you see any sign of, Lee, I mean, do you see any sign of us pulling out? I don't.
no. In fact, we're stiffening our resolve by moving the third carrier in and also moving an amphibious landing
Yeah, they're
group
coming
from the
Japan.
Marines in.
Yeah, they're
And
coming
China,
from Japan.
that brought up, I wanted to interject that. China is now moving military equipment to the border or to the coast area near Taiwan. They've also been moving military equipment in the area of South Korea as well as Japan. So it's not just a case of China is just after Taiwan. They have bigger ambitions than Taiwan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this comes on the back of what I was saying last week when we were so rudely being cut off, that we're dismantling our anti-air systems and our THAAD systems in South Korea. So, and we're redeploying these to the Middle East. So, I mean, we're kind of leaving our allies hanging out to dry. What exactly are the Chinese moving to the coast? Well, you and I haven't talked in the last few days. We've been kind of busy doing our own things, but
they are wrong button. Here we go. They are moving missile systems and light amphibious tanks, armored personnel carriers. So they've moved 1,400 armored personnel carriers in the area of the Yellow Sea. And then they have moved a vast number of missiles now into that area, as well as along the coast there near Taiwan. So we're seeing increased movement of military equipment into the theater, and that's all started happening within the last 4 days.
okay.
Except for the 1,400 vehicles. The 1,400 vehicles was a few months ago, but the missiles have all happened since the beginning of the war. Actually, there were, I think, 8 large missiles moved before that. We covered it a month ago. The ones that were underneath the blanket and said that they were underneath the
Yes,
carpet.
the construction cranes.
Yeah, the construction crane. I love how those two things are interchangeable. But anyway, the giant construction cranes tarp that was over the missiles, I think there was 8 of those moved. But other than those, most of the movement has been taking place here in the last about 11 days.
Yeah.
So
okay.
there's
Well, I'd like to bring the attention, since we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz, I'd like to bring the attention to another key area. So the Iranians are disrupting transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Do I have that correct? Right?
Yes.
Through everything. Yeah, I've got that right. Okay. So you see this key choke point right here across the strait right there, where you got the Chinese vessel that's in the center of it. Okay. If you can flip to my screen, please. I want to show this. All right. Everybody's familiar with these maps that we go through.
Oh yeah.
About every week. This is our usual one, but I thought I would point this out. So you've got the Houthis, right, which are largely, they say that's an Iranian proxy, but they're actually backed by the Chinese. And of course, the Russians are in there a little bit in South Yemen. Well, there is another strait down here called the Bab al-Mandab Strait, and it runs across the south end of the Red Sea that goes into the Arabian Sea, right? So you got the Gulf of Aden here, you got the Red Sea up here, which is the ford still in the Red Sea? I believe it is.
Yes.
I think it's still there. Okay. So the Houthis have threatened to, and I don't know if you caught this, they've threatened to cut this strait off. Have you heard that? A couple of days ago. Yeah. So they've threatened to shut this one down. So what's that going to do? This is going to disrupt to the further north here. This is the Suez to get into the Med, right?
Right.
So this is another key oil route that is, and shipping route, because if you block all this off, the Chinese were in the process of using the Houthis, and they've been doing this for the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, to attack ships. And the British Maritime Organization, UK Maritime Organization, they've been out there trying to curtail these attacks. But the Houthis have been launching RPGs and missiles and everything else at these ships in the Gulf of Aden, which is here, and the part of the Red Sea up here, to try and disrupt this. Now, this has been the Chinese tactic to try and play economic warfare against global shipping in the West. Because if you disrupt this traffic here, right, this cuts all this journey off here, because you're going to go down here and you're going to go around the Cape of Good Hope, right? And you're going to go all the way back around here, and it's going to take you forever to get to Europe. When instead, you could just go through the Suez right here. Yeah.
Right.
So the Houthis are threatening to cut this off. Now, they say, well, we're probably going to let those Chinese vessels through, right? Just like the Iranians are doing, right? Because this is going to hurt the Chinese. Why is this going to hurt the Chinese? Well, I'm going to show you. The Chinese have a very, very large investment down here in South Sudan. 80% of the oil extraction in South Sudan is run and operated by the Chinese. They have built a pipeline that runs from South Sudan all the way up here to the port of Sudan, where the Chinese also control this port. They've spent billions and billions of dollars building this port up. And as we can see right here, do those look like pipelines? Oh, yes,
Sure
they do.
enough.
And if we come out here to the docks, what do we got? We got a Chinese tanker in port, right? So these tankers get loaded here. They travel south through the Red Sea, through this strait, into the Gulf of Aden, into the Arabian Sea, and they come over to here. They don't go to China. They come here. They come here to Myanmar, just on the west end of the Bay of Bengal, where the Chinese have built a massive deep water port for oil. And there is a pipeline that runs from here directly to China. 7,600 kilometers is all that ocean journey is for their oil. That's a lot of oil, don't you think?
Yeah.
So this is the Chinese route. Yeah, this is the Chinese route that they take. So if the Houthis shut this down, which they're threatening to do right now, if they shut this down, that's not going to hurt Chinese oil one bit, because they're going to let the Chinese ships through. They
always have, because
not been.
they actually
Right,
even say
right.
Chinese ship, Chinese crew,
Right.
just like the one going through right now.
Right. So this is what their next play is. So they'll shut down the traffic going through here that's going up through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal, or they're going to attempt to, rather, I think. And then this will allow that if they can sort out somehow the Strait of Hormuz, then they'll shut this one down. And this has more to do with than just oil. Okay, so we got just oil and LNG and some fertilizer products and things that come out of the Strait of Hormuz. That's a strategic point for the world's oil supply. This does more than just oil and everything else that I just mentioned. This also does cargo, right? You've got millions and millions and millions of tons of cargo, hundreds of millions of tons of cargo that run through this area daily.
Yep.
And can you imagine what that's going to do if that's shut down?
A lot.
A lot.
I mean, here you can see it right here. That's
Yeah, switch off me. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
so.
And this is live, right? This is
This is
the
live, and
traffic.
this
This is every day.
This is from satellite. This is I pay for satellite tracking, and so we're tracking every single one of these vessels that are out in the middle by satellite. Everything that's there
Now-
is on.
Since you got this up, let's pull a filter and let's go only military vessels. And let's see just how much protection's actually in there right now.
Well, they won't show it to you. They won't turn their transponders on.
Oh, okay. I thought there would have been at least one or two in there.
No, they won't. When they're in war, they won't turn their transponders on.
Even if it's not in the conflict? The Red Sea is
Yep.
not in the conflict zone at the moment.
Well, there's fighters flying in and out of there, so.
Oh, okay.
But
All
yeah,
right.
they're not.
Fair enough.
They're not showing the other thing is
Jeddah. Okay, so this is a key port, right? This is one of the places that
vessel. Yep.
yeah, this is one of the places that the Iranians have been hitting. So this port's a target.
Mm-hmm. And where's the? Let's go back here to select all. So where are they coming across here at?
Right there, Port Sudan.
Okay. So so Iran has actually been hitting the port where the oil's supposed to come in.
They've been hitting Jeddah. Yeah, the Iranians have with drones and missiles. Yeah.
Wow. And then they're going to come down here and go across. Okay.
Yes.
Well.
So, but they're going to be using the Houthis to shut everything off down there through the southern Strait.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we already went down there and blew away the Houthis once. So.
Yeah, and then the Saudis have been dealing with them for quite some time. They're no strangers to them. Same thing with UAE; they've been dealing with them for a long time too, and so there's no love lost between them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to show that because that's going to probably be their next play. Shall we move over to Israel? You said you had a map up before we started, unless you got anything else on this one.
No, I had the just the alert map from Israel up was all I had.
That's a lot of ocean. Look at all those ocean-going vessels. Good Lord.
Yeah. Well, that's the advantage of paying. You don't see that unless you pay for the professional service. Once they get more than 10 or 15 miles off the coast, 30 miles at most, they disappear. So you don't actually see all of the ships of the world like that.
Good God.
Mine used to show up on here.
Yeah. Imagine all of this being shut down.
Right. In a blink of an eye. All right, let me get back up for you the Israel map here. Let me put that one over here. All right, there we go. So, yeah, we had attacks here a little while ago. A bunch of them. Right before we came on the air. In fact, like 100 names it looked like put up there. So, what's the deal with Bibi? You're muted. Hello.
Sorry.
Right.
It's my problem. There's a rumor going around that he's dead. And that there's a rumor going around that now that not just him, but his son is dead. Okay. So first of all, let's look at his son. All right. His son apparently tweets or uses X between 30 and 40 times a day. But he hasn't tweeted anything or said anything or done anything with his social media since March the 9th.
That's a week.
So we're going on. That's a week. Yeah, we're going on a week. So I've been trying to get some answers. I was asking you to talk to somebody over there to see if we can get an actual answer.
I just sent a message and I'm waiting for my response.
So we're going to find out. But this is what started the speculation. I'm going to show this. This is the video that the video from Israeli state media that I got, and he gave this speech. What was it, like 4 or 5 days ago? He gave this speech. And so I'm just going to run it here, and I'm going to show exactly what the problem is. And you're going to be able to catch it because I'm going to knock it down frame by frame on what started this speculation. The issue is that this speech that he gave never happened. And I'm going to show you why it didn't happen, because if you get right here.
Well, I can look at his face, his ears, his nose, his mouth, and his eyes and tell you that's not Bibi Netanyahu.
Okay, all right. Before I show you, then what makes you say that?
Well, look how crooked his fucking nose is compared to the center line of his forehead, compared to the height of his ears. His left ear is not an inch higher than his right ear.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
look at how that thing. That's a fucking monkey ear right there. Okay.
Now look at the teeth.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
The teeth are crooked as a dog's hind leg. That's not Bibi Netanyahu. There's no way in hell that's Bibi Netanyahu.
Okay.
I mean, look at him how he talks. His mouth is much too wide. Look at that.
Now there's two sets of teeth in there. You see that?
Right.
But if we go to, I think it's 25. Is it here? I think when he brings his hand up here. Right there. Watch here. Look right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Let that come up a little bit more.
It won't come up any further because they got this blocking, but you can see where the hand extends. Where's the pinky?
Right.
That's the ring finger.
Right.
Where's the pinky?
Right.
So that's not him. You know, given everything that you said, but that's not him.
Yeah, Bibi's head is not that. I mean, look how much higher that ear is, and how much bigger that ear is, and it's not even at the same spot across his head, and his mouth is crooked compared to his forehead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the hand continues. If this wasn't there, then you could see where you'd be able to see it. But that's the size of the ring finger. That if you look at the pinky, look, that's the size of the ring finger. There's no way.
Yeah.
AI gets it close, except for usually that one thing. They can never get the hands right most of the time.
I don't think they can get the mouth and the face right either. I mean, I'm no artist, but I know that Bibi's head is not that fucked up. That's potato head looking stuff. Right there.
These videos keep getting put out, and I don't believe they're him. There was another one of him in a coffee shop yesterday. Did you see that one?
No.
Okay, there's this big.
Actually, I did, but I didn't hear him. I didn't hear what he said because he was speaking.
Well, he's speaking Yiddish, but he picked up the coffee, which if you slow it down and you look at the screen of where the sale was, the sale was zero. What do they use? Shekels. 0. Yeah. So they didn't charge him anything for the coffee. And then when he picks the coffee up, I don't have the video. At least let me see if I can get it really quickly. But
yeah, I saw it. I just didn't see I didn't evaluate it. I didn't see the video, but it was speaking in Hebrew, I think, and so.
Yeah, when he picks the coffee up, it doesn't. Oh boy, I'm really going to mess that up. I'll do this later. Whatever. When he picks the coffee up, it's got this big frothing head on it, but it doesn't spill. He doesn't spill a drop of it.
Well, that's Bibi, man. He's good like that.
He says he's dying for a coffee. He says, but then he comes up and he says, "You want to count my fingers?" But they put the translation up on the screen, but I can show this. He's just in a coffee shop.
Yeah, I saw this.
He's got this big coffee right here he picks up, and he doesn't spill a drop of it. And he's like moving it all around and everything. And he doesn't spill any of it. And the head on the coffee doesn't move.
Yeah.
While he's moving his hands around, see, the coffee's not moving.
Right. How do you do that?
I don't know. I've never seen. You ever seen a coffee do that?
No, that looks more. That's frozen coffee.
I've never seen a coffee with the froth on top. I've never seen it do that. It's always like messing around and spilling like a couple of drops over the side. But that's not real. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I don't buy that at all.
I don't either.
You see, it doesn't move.
I've never seen BB act like that either.
No. And today he was out. I guess he was out at a. I don't know what it was. It was kind of like a vineyard or something like that, shaking people's hands and looking at the scenic views and things. And I've never seen anything like that. So I don't understand the behavior. I don't understand if you're doing that, then are you just trying to fuel speculation that you're dead? What are you trying to do? So that seems to be the thing at the moment is that he's, that's the rumor circulating. I can't confirm nor deny. We're trying to find out. But I know one thing, those videos, I don't believe them.
Poultry Frog said the Register also said that the year is 2025.
Okay, I didn't catch that part. Yeah, I didn't catch that part. But I did see they didn't charge for the coffee, which, okay, if it's a photo op or something and they have to make it look legit, okay, fine. I can dismiss that. Whatever. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I believe that those videos are fake.
Somebody said if BB was dead, nukes would already be flying. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right. So let's talk about Russia. Unless you have anything else on the Netanyahu thing, do you have any other questions on that?
Somebody said if BB's dead, what's the use behind hiding it? I think most countries, if they lose their leader, they don't say it immediately. And I wouldn't think the Israelis would be any different. I mean, look at the leader of Iran. Hasn't been seen.
But yes, he has.
Huh?
Yes, he has.
The new leader?
Yes.
When was he seen?
I didn't say he was seen by any Iranians.
Oh. Seen by Allah? So.
Hello, man. This is Red Alder.
Is that an EAM?
No, it's Red Alger. I've got U.S. bombers operating on 11175.
Oh, I see.
So.
Any other questions on the Netanyahu thing? Because if not, then we can.
Any other questions on Netanyahu? Where do you want to go now?
I want to go to Russia. You've heard about the internet outages?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So the internet is has been unavailable in Moscow and in St. Petersburg. Now, if you've got internet that's being turned off in Moscow and in St. Petersburg, then you know that there's a problem. They're shutting down Telegram in, is it 2 weeks? So first of April, they're going to start shutting it down. So that's going away. That's a major thing. I mean, I don't know if people can grasp what that means. That's like turning off WhatsApp in Europe, okay, in part of the United States. That's like shutting that down, or whatever it is, or shutting Signal down. It'd be the same thing. I think that's kind of more Americans use Signal, I think, but that's what that is. It's shutting all of that down essentially, because Telegram is largely Yeah, go ahead.
It's not very often that you hear bombers talking.
No, you don't. That's why I was asking.
we've got them over the U.S. Let me see here on the map a second.
Yeah, all real time.
Andrew,
Just
this
so
is
we know.
Red Alder, how copy, over.
All right, they're calling Andrews. It's Red Auger calling Andrews. And Red Auger is, yeah, that's probably a bomber with a penetrator with a name like that. Red Auger. Let's see what we got. If we got anything going across or coming back.
You can switch me off because people don't want to see
sorry
my
about
ugly
that.
face.
This is the one I wanted to look at. Yeah, I don't see them. I surely hear them though. There it is.
This is Red Alder,
B-52.
how copy my station, over.
Yep. And we're picking him up for those of you who are new to the channel. We're picking him up off the big one. That's the KLW.
Red Alder, I had Rheumatology as well. Requesting to exit the net at this time. I said again, requesting to exit the net at this time. Over.
So he's exiting the net. But at KLW World News, we have a multitude of antennas. But what you're hearing that off of is what we call the big one. That's our 270-foot long 8-band HF antenna. And yes, this war is expanding. Russia and China are now providing weapons to the Iranians. All right, so back to you, Johnny.
Right. So, like I said, they're shutting down Telegram in Russia. Again, it's akin to shutting down WhatsApp and Signal here in the United States and in Europe. But to shut off 100 million people, because that's the user base, right? 100 million Russians use Telegram. The voice and video calls have been shut off for, I think they shut those down last month. I think it was just last month and a couple of months, they started having sporadic outages before that. So they've disabled that already. So it's just been a gradual thing. But they're saying that they could keep it active for military personnel, people that are operating in Ukraine and certain government employees and things like that. However, Telegram's still going to be available for us, and it's still going to be available to their propaganda outlets to shovel us their propaganda garbage or whatever it is that they throw at you on there. But to turn that off means that they're expecting communications at home between people, private communications. They control Telegram to a certain extent. They can read people's conversations to a certain extent, but not all of them. There are private conversations that you can have on Telegram that they don't look at. They're not able to see. The FSB can't get in and get that. But the new applications that they've got, one's called Max, which is like the kind of how the Chinese have WeChat or Weibo or whatever it is. The Russians now have Max, which is the equivalent of that. It's a state-controlled app. The FSB and all the intelligence services and the police and everybody can monitor everything that everybody says. They can monitor everybody's phone calls between them, data transmissions, pictures, text messages, whatever. And that app works flawlessly. It works fine. There's no problems with it. However, they have a bigger problem now. And they've thought, well, we might just have to shut the internet off as a whole to fight terrorism, right? That's been their thing. Don't you think, Lee, if they had shut that off before the Moscow theater attack, that would have stopped that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So they've turned the internet off in Moscow and Beijing, or Moscow and St. Petersburg, but probably Beijing at some point very soon. For the same reasons. So what's been going on since that? Well, we've become dependent on these things, right? We're dependent on these phones. But if you don't have a connection to a tower with this, what good is it? Right? What can you do with it? Lee, what good is this thing if you don't have a connection, a voice and data connection to these things? What good is it? It's like
They're
it'd be like having
excellent overpriced paperweights.
overpriced paperweights, but I would argue that do you remember back in the 90s we had those PDAs, like those Palm came after like the Palm Pilot kind of thing.
Yep.
That's essentially what you got. That's what you got. Did you just get kicked?
No.
Did I get kicked?
No, we're here.
Okay. So that's what you have.
Mark is adding that they've also shut down landlines across areas of the country in the last 24 hours.
Okay, I haven't heard that yet. But that's par for the course because of what's happening.
Right.
So since they've shut down the internet and you're not able to communicate via mobile phone anymore, well, that kind of leaves you can't use GPS on this either, right? That's not going to work.
But it sounds to me like you need to get on the KLW World News Network.
Well, that's probably banned over there too, and if not, then the FSB will.
But I'm saying for as
door.
far as in the United States, for when they do it here.
Yes, that's true. But the alternatives have started to pop up in Russia. They've gone back to pagers, right? Pagers. Everybody, you had a pager, Lee, didn't you, back in the 90s? Yeah. You had a pager. I had a pager. Yeah. So they've brought pagers back. They've seen almost an 80% sales spike in pagers in the last week alone. They have almost 180% spike in paper road atlases. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
We used to get those. They used to be at every gas station and every petrol station that you would stop at. You'd get an atlas of where you were going to be. Rand McNally, that's right. You'd have to get an atlas of where you were. You've driven across the country back in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
You had stacks of papers and atlases on your trip.
I bought the great big thick
the big
McNally commercial truck drivers with the laminated pages.
Yeah.
That was my Bible, man. I'd go down the road flipping the pages as I would go by the miles.
Yeah.
So you had to have it.
Yeah. So they're selling paper maps, which I'm a fan of. I'm still a fan of. I think that you need to have paper maps just in case, right? That's a prepping thing, right? You got to have paper maps, topographical maps of the areas that you're going to be living and operating in. So I think that's essential anyway. Laminated, of course, as Lee was talking about. But paper maps are up almost 180%. Pager sales are up almost 80%. And now they're talking about bringing back payphones in the Russian State Duma. Payphones. Now, Lee, this is a question for you. I had this posed to me this afternoon, and I think I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. Do the Russians, and I would assume so because the way that they advance technologically, I'm assuming that the Russians still have a majority of twisted pair lines that run their phone systems in the country.
You would be correct.
Okay, yeah.
In places that have phone service, because you got to remember,
yes,
a lot of homes in Russia don't even have running water.
True.
A lot of homes don't have electricity, and even more homes don't have a phone line. So, they're only going to be doing that in metropolitan areas. You're going to see that in Moscow, you're going to see that in St. Petersburg, and maybe a few other places, but the vast majority of them, they're not going to give them a payphone.
Yeah. So you get a page, right? You got to get to a phone, but twisted pair. And I'm going to get to this here in just a second, but if I'm not mistaken, we've been spending the last few decades, we've been tearing twisted pair out here in the West, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So my question to you is, and you did a workshop on this last night. I'm sorry I was not able to attend, but you did a workshop last night on a CME and EMP. What effect would an EMP have on twisted pair phone connection communication systems?
It fries everything connected on both ends. We're talking 100,000 volts per meter. So how long is the wire? You're talking, millions of volts are going to be coming in over that line and going into the switching office for the telephone company. None of that's going to survive that. They're made to take the blast, but they're not going to take the EMP. The electronics, the backbone, an EMP is going to take out all twisted pair. That's not going to be online anytime soon. It's too much tied into that isn't protected.
Okay, so you're going to have the same result as whether you had a digital or a data connection.
It would make a bit of difference if you was plugged into a router, plugged into fiber, or plugged in through twisted pair. Pretty much everything that's got a wire connected to it is going to get smoked. So if it's got a wire more than 3 feet long hooked to it, most likely it won't survive.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, that shoots that theory in the foot. I was going to say that this would be a way for them to communicate. But here's my next question. If you have this type of infrastructure, I mean, when we're talking about going back to the mid to late 80s, early 90s, if you're talking pagers and you're talking payphones and paper road atlases, then that means you're preparing to be shut down. You're reverting your communication system back to something else. Is that system going to be is it going to be affected by a cyber attack?
Paper maps aren't normally affected by cyber attack.
But of course not. I was talking more of the communication system. I was throwing the paper maps in with it.
Oh, all right. So the paging, I mean, anything you can get into the paging terminal and mess that up. You still have to have telephone lines to be able to make the phone calls, even to the paging terminals. So you still got to have that infrastructure up and going. So if the phone infrastructure is going, the paging isn't going to do any good. The only type of paging that you can do, whereas that you don't have to have telephone infrastructure, is for fire, rescue, and law enforcement. And that's just because they're paging their own people on their own towers. But as far as the public being able to try to call in and call somebody and have them page them, if the infrastructure's down, that's gone too.
I see. Well, regardless, okay, so if all that can be taken out, okay, fine. You know, I'm just kind of weighing every possible scenario here. But I think in the end, it comes down to the fact that they're looking to stop any kind of resistance to a mass mobilization. Would you say that's accurate by the steps they're taking to bring all this?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Would you say that based on the steps that they're taking to bring back all this old infrastructure, shut down modern communications, they're trying to stop a mass pushback against a mass mobilization?
Yeah, I think that it's more than that. I think that they're also trying to stop the world from seeing it. Not so much to stop the pushback in the country, but to stop the rest of the world from actually seeing what's going on. This is literally the Iron Curtain is going up again.
Yeah, that's kind of been my argument as well. If you're bringing back all this stuff from the 1980s, why don't you just bring back the Soviet Union, right?
Well, that's what they've been trying to do. I mean, you saw the first tanks that came across the border into Ukraine had Soviet flags on them. The tanks had Soviet markings on them. It wasn't the Russian Federation. It wasn't the Russian Federation flag. It was the Soviet Union flags and hammers and sickle on the sides of the tanks. I mean, they were even painted as Russian tanks, not Russian Federation tanks. So, yeah, Putin and all of the oligarchs want to bring back the old Soviet Union. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Sergei Lavrov, he showed up to those talks in Alaska wearing a sweatshirt that said CCCP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So with that being brought back, I mean, that with the internet being shut down, that just tells me that, that they're looking to stop any kind of momentum. And I agree with you on the fact they don't want the world to see. And it's been a slow progression to shut down the free flow and access of information that's gone on in there. And then, of course, we've been seeing what's going on in Ukraine. And we're seeing now what they're doing all up along the eastern flank of NATO on the Russian side. 78 new positions. I'm sorry, what are you going to staff them with, right? Where are you going to get the personnel to put in those installations that you're either building or you're renovating to bring back from the Soviet era? Well, that means you're going to have a mobilization. Why are you reversing the 1966 law for women to go back into the workforce in mining and labor jobs? Why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense unless you're going to be losing that set of workers if you're going to be losing male workers, well then, and you know they're not going to be around, then you're going to have to fill those positions with someone.
Oh, they know that, and they're doing it. I mean, that's why they're bringing in all the people from India. Remember that? Was it 40,000 workers or 100,000 workers, whatever it was, from India? So they brought in 40,000, over 40,000 troops from North Korea alone. We estimate that they brought in at least 50,000 troops from Central America, South America, Africa, Cuba. They brought in over 5,000 people just from Cuba to fight for Russia. I mean, Cuba's pissed off about that because those guys never got paid. They were sent, died, never heard from again, and their family never got a penny. And the Russians used them as cannon fodder on the battlefield. Nobody knows where the bodies is and probably never will. I mean, that's just what Russia's been doing. So, yeah, they've had to import manpower because they've lost basically 1 million men in this conflict with Ukraine. You just can't, snap your fingers and have 1 million men show up with all of their experience when you've managed to have them killed off in the last year. So it's not a good thing for Russia. It's only going to get worse for them.
Yeah. Cuba. Trump said yesterday that we're going to wrap up Iran and then we're going to Cuba.
I didn't hear him say that, but I know that that's what the plan is. Don't ask me how I know that. But
I'm not going to ask you how you know that because I don't want to know.
Right. But yeah, Cuba's on the list. And if you will remember back in January, I said that. Over the next 90 days, the United States is going to be very active in combat, both in Venezuela, Iran, Cuba, and Colombia is still on the list. So after Cuba, we got Colombia.
Cuba's been hit with nationwide blackouts. Their grid's been failing. You've been following that.
Part of it came back up just a little while ago, but they've been failing. Okay. Well, they've been out of fuel for a while now.
They have. There was a deal to allow tankers to come in from Mexico. Is that still going on? Is that still a thing?
I had heard that, but I can't confirm or deny it. I don't know it for a fact. I had heard that they were allowing it. The crazy part is the problems that California's having getting gas, and that's their own fault.
Well, it's their own fault. I mean, it's $8. What is it? $8 a gallon out there?
Yeah. Plus, it's got to have all these additives and all this other shit to it, plus all the tax.
Well, we wouldn't want to pollute the environment. Other than that, I really didn't have a whole lot else. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we?
Not really. I think we've done really well here. We've been.
Do you want to do any questions?
Yeah, I do want to do questions.
Live questions.
Answers. So, anybody got any questions?
Before, while people are typing that up. Yeah, while people are typing that up and coming up with questions, this is a good time. Lee, do you want to tell people on this end? Do you want to tell people where they can go to get signed up on your network and how they can support you?
Yeah, you can go to KLWWorldNews.com and get signed up there. We have our own private news app that you put onto your phone or your tablet. It's 100% encrypted. It's AES 256-bit encrypted. We have over 100 channels of news, text, talk, chat, and information on there, all secure within the network. We also have a safety net, so is that if you're in danger and you need help or we see that danger is in your area, we can let you be notified of that. We protect people against tornadoes, floods, wildland fires, all kinds of other things. We've also called in people for emergency situations. We've been able to call the fire department, or people having a baby or having a heart attack when they wouldn't be able to get through with their phone. They could get through to us on our app, and we were able to dial 911 for them. So the systems have been around for years. We've got hundreds and hundreds of people around the world on the system. And again, it's 100% private, 100% secure. And we put news and information out on there that is completely uncensored. And so that's why we have such a following around the world with that. So you can go there. You can also watch us on YouTube.
Metula, Kiryat Shemona, Tel Chai, Kfar Giladi, Kfar Yuval.
Israel, from Iran most likely. Actually, it's most likely from Hezbollah or Hamas. The Iranians have really much failed to do anything against Israel in this current conflict. But anyway, you can contact us, join us at klwworldnews.com, or you can follow us on YouTube, or I'm also on Twitter. The link is in the description on the video, as well as I think you put it in your description as well.
I do, yes.
So yeah, be sure to follow us on X. And the great part about the KLW World News Network is we have people all over the world that can feed information to us in real time and not have to worry about censorship or any of that. Additionally, we have our own radio network that we're building out that allows us to communicate with people around the world as well as around the country on different frequencies. In the event that it hits the fan, we already have a radio network set up so that we can use. We don't need repeaters. We don't need the internet. We don't need satellites. We don't need any of that. We can talk around on the world on our own HFGCS network, which is a high-frequency global communication system. So that's what KLW World News does, to provide the truth 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're able to do it even after the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, which your network will survive an EMP and work after an EMP.
Yeah, absolutely. Our network is set up to do that.
Yeah. So, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the people that have contributed to the content that we put out on my channel. I do appreciate that, and the work that we do over there, all the stuff that we put together, all the research and all the analysis and everything. So thank you all very much. That means a lot to me. And if anybody would like to contribute to that, you can do so by clicking the PayPal link in the description down below, or you can go over to my X page at Anderson10x3, and there's a link at the top where you can contribute to the work of the channel. So thank you all very much for those of you that have, and those of you that will. Thank you. So questions?
Yeah, greatly appreciate your support here, folks.
Absolutely.
All right, questions. Do you think that the U.S., where is it? Let me move this down here, actually. It would make this a whole lot easier. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. All right, let's see. Do you think we will experience rolling brownouts? Had an unexplained power outage last night for what looks like an hour and a half. That was just a problem with DC, Cindy. They were probably switching something over, or was a planned outage or something of that nature. If we had an EMP or a CME or a cyber attack, we may experience that. But just from what's going on now, I don't think so. Do you think China and Russia are keeping Iran supplied to deplete U.S. munitions for when Russia will be ready to take the Baltics in 2028 and China goes for Taiwan? Absolutely. Your thoughts on that, Clayton? Or your thoughts on that, Johnny?
Clayton.
The question came from Clayton Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah, so your thoughts,
no, I think that is
your thoughts on Clayton's question is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's absolutely what the Russians are doing, and they've been trying to do the same thing with depleting our munitions and our stockpiles in Ukraine as well. But we've been able to backfill that, and we've been able to replenish that. But now that we're involved with the Iranian deal, and with what we're looking at with further operations in Latin America, we're going to be expending even more munitions there when, quite frankly, they should be used elsewhere. They should be saved up to be used when they need to be used on other places. That's all I'm going to say.
I agree with you. How deep are the Cuban tunnels? They're pretty deep. I'd say, as far as lengthwise, I'd say they're over 1,000 feet in length, and depth-wise from the surface, I would say they're at least a couple hundred feet deep. Your thoughts, Johnny?
I think they're every bit as long as what you said, possibly even longer, because you've got a central mountain chain that runs through Cuba, and God only knows how. I mean, they've been digging in there for more than a half century. So, I mean, the tunnel systems and the underground infrastructure that we found out in the middle of nowhere in Cuba, it's hard to tell how much how deep and how far it goes through that and out throughout the jungle. I don't really know. I don't even want to speculate, but I think it's what Lee said, times whatever factor you want to throw in there. Plus, how do I put this? I think they will go as deep as they can until they hit water. That's what I think.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I would
Yeah.
agree with that. Question: some Chinese ships are going through the Strait of Hormuz, but are following the northern route. Is that because there are mines further south? Well, they should follow the northern route when they're inbound, and they should follow the southern route when they're outbound. We have no evidence there are any mines in the Strait of Hormuz at this time. So they said they were going to mine it, but to my knowledge, not a single mine has been found. Your thoughts, Johnny?
I don't think they've dropped any mines. The only thing that we've seen some photos and things of, and they look dated, by the way, of some old sea mine styles that they used to throw back in like the 80s and 90s that they would throw into the Strait. But and those are still being found and removed today, by the way. But I think the bigger concern, if they're going to do any mining of the Strait, it's going to be very difficult for them to do. And when I say it's going to be difficult for them to do, if they're going to allow safe passage of Chinese, Russian, Indian vessels, if they're going to do that, then that's not something that the Chinese, the Russians, or the Indians are going to want to deal with. So they don't want to hurt their own ships and their allies' ships. They want to make sure that they keep us out. So if you've got unpredictability related to sea mines or limpet mines or whatever it is, magnetic limpet mines, then it's difficult to control that. It's easier for them to use drones, drone boats, missiles, RPGs, whatever they can to target those ships that they don't control.
Yep. Well, we got more EAMs going out here. We all know that, here we go. Why is Israel not allowing coverage of attacks on social media in real time? I don't know the answer to that, Johnny.
I don't have any knowledge of that at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We all know that Mossad is historically good at intel and assassinations. Did the IRGC ever come up with their own Mossad CIA type network? No.
No. And if they did, Mossad would be infiltrating it and shutting it down.
Will we get some kind of heads up about a planned EMP attack before it happens? No.
No. Lee, do you want to tell the story of the installation that was protected?
Oh, so years ago, I had the pleasure of serving on the Texas EMP task force. And I was called to give a briefing at Fort Sam Houston, Texas. And in the course of giving that briefing, there was a colonel there who was telling me about how prepared that the military base was. And he went in to tell me that they had protected the lines between the power generation facility and the military base, and that was going to allow the military base to stay online after an EMP event. And I looked at the colonel and I said, "Sir, great. You have a power station that is protected from an EMP, and you have a military base that is protected from an EMP. What about everybody else?" "Well, we just need to keep critical infrastructure online here is what we need to do." And I said, "Well, sir, how are you going to do that? All of those people that aren't on base, well, when the EMP goes off, their power is going to go out. The following morning, are they going to wake up and be at work on time? Absolutely not, because none of them's alarm clocks are going to work. Are they going to be able to go out and get into their car and drive to work? Well, probably not. EMPs take out cars. Are they going to swing by and have coffee and donuts on the way into the office? Nope, because the gas stations will be closed. They don't have power. Will they be able to buy gas? Nope, because the satellites will be out and their credit cards won't work. So my question is, how are you going to respond to help anybody when you don't have a crew of people to be here? The vehicles you have in the parking lot are not EMP protected. You have no communications because you're using cell phones and satellites. And that impact card that you use to put gas in your trucks, that's not going to work. The gas stations aren't going to be open, and you're not going to be able to stop by Buc-ee's for lunch because Buc-ee's isn't going to be open either because, well, they're not on that power line that you ran from the power station to the military base. So you may have a building or two on this base that still have power, but that'll be limited because that power generation facility that you backed up the power to, where's it going to get its fuel? Are the railroads going to bring coal to that for you? Is it going to get natural gas pumped in? Where's that fuel coming from? Where's the locomotives going to get their fuel from? So there's a whole infrastructure that has to be done. Putting one power generation plant in the entire United States and making it protected, which I think there's now 3 in the entire United States that are protected. How are you going to carry out a war against an adversary when you have 2 buildings in Texas that have power? He's like, wow, I never really thought about it that way. Yeah, I'm sure you will now. Welcome to the reality of the people who were supposed to be in charge of this shit. They're not doing anything.
So to answer your question, is there going to be a warning before an EMP? No. No.
How'd that go?
Survey said.
So, yeah, no warning. All right, let's go back here. What else do we see here?
Will there be a live show of Jeff, Johnny, and Lee this Thursday? Yes, that does not change.
Yep. Oh, you're
Lee
in
and I are
chat
just
too.
doing simulcast every Monday now.
Let's see here.
Will we be able to cope with interruptions, if any? Well, that depends on certain people. I can't answer that with any certainty.
Yeah. Question, any thoughts on the island of Kakark? If they'll
Karg
be taken,
Island. Trump says he's going to hit it again.
yeah. Taking order control of the oil, which is believed to be mostly destined for China. Yeah, if they fire at a ship, look, what needs to happen here is anytime Iran fires at a ship, we need to sink 100 vessels and flatten 100 buildings in Iran. Fire again. You fire one missile, we're going to give you 100 for every one you fire. We're going to blow up 100 targets. So we'll take out your infrastructure, we'll take out whatever, we don't care. But we've bombed their houses, we bombed their buildings. We've bombed literally thousands and thousands and thousands of locations. So there's going to be more of that coming. But we may take that island to prevent the Chinese or anybody else from taking that island there. So that is possible. But we're going to control the southern coast of Iran in very short order here. No, hospitals will not be running after an EMP. Correct. No stored coal. All Mid-East countries are jailing people if they post any video of Iran's attacks. They are saying it is so as to not to give away air defense locations and to not give Iran credit for successful attacks. I think that they're just trying to hide it all, is what I think. And you're all the way up to, will there be a Jeff, Johnny, and Lee show on Thursday? Yes, there will be. Did China put a base camp in Cuba? Absolutely. They have a spy. They have several spy locations in Cuba.
Yes, we looked at one of those
Yeah.
those locations, and you
Yep.
pointed out exactly how it worked.
Yeah, actually, two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Sergei Lavrov visited one. I
Yes, he
believe.
did. Yes, he did. So I think that's all the questions. No, EMP could not take out the backup gen in a hospital. EMP will take out the backup Jenny in a hospital because it's tied to the grid. So, yeah, that'll be bad. All right, Johnny, you got anything you want to add?
No, I think it's been a great session as always,
Yep,
and
yep.
I look forward to what we got coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, so do I. All right, folks. Thanks for being here. We will see you on Thursday for Live with Jeff, Johnny, and Lee. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
That's all, folks.